What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Business Breakthrough. I'm here with George and Colin today, and these two want to start their business. They want to get off on the right foot, and we definitely hammered out a business breakthrough in this episode. We really dove into the numbers, and when two people start a business, anytime that I'm given the opportunity to, really facilitate communication, I try to just get the hard conversations out. And I think you'll find in this business breakthrough that because I did that, there's definitely some clarity now. So I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Thank you for joining us on the Contractor Series podcast. Enjoy this business breakthrough. The big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right. They're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener. It's so much better. And that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets podcast. Let's do it. All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Business Breakthrough. George is back again, man. This is number 4 or 3, George?
I think it's 4.
Man, taking full advantage of the free coaching. I love it. And then he brought in Colin. Colin is his new business partner, project manager. Interesting situation. George wants to start up his business and move, and he found somebody that can take ownership of it while he's gone. So, Colin, what's up, man?
Happy to have you. Going?
Cool. So, Colin, man, what is your experience in management? Is this your first gig, or do you have any experience in flooring contracting, anything like that?
Yeah, so I've actually been operating a service providing company pretty much my entire life, like from before my first job ever. Like I've been doing it for probably the past 8 years, managing Friendly Neighbor Services. It's my business that does exactly the same thing, a little bit smaller jobs, but more jobs, more volume. So it's just really focusing down on each job here and putting all the systems in place here to where we can get this operating automatically and swiftly.
Cool, man. So you understand the homeowner dynamic, what customers expect, what they want, the type of experience that they're trying to have. All that's really important. My biggest concern is just how early it is for George to be bringing someone on with no clear data of expectations, of we have no milestones that need to be hit. He hasn't even perfected his system, and he's having you come in to try to perfect his system, which could get kind of messy. So what plans do you guys have to create a solid marketing system, which creates a good sales system, which ultimately creates a good production system?
Sure. So, I mean, that's a really good point. We're going to double our marketing spending with Eric very soon once we get our system set. Our goal is to have about 2 to 3 crews by the time I move in like a few months, not like a few months, by like April 11th or April, May. And right now we're in the process of interviewing people. We found like 8 potential candidates. We're probably going to take like 6 of the 8. And we actually had about 36 applications on Indeed.
Nice.
So we have
for just installers.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. That's good.
So we were able to find a few.
Are you trying to create teams of 2, 3? What are you trying to create? How many teams are you trying to create?
Teams of 2.
All right. So teams of 2. And what is the pay rate of the best person on the team and then the second hand?
So the best person, the head installer, can get promoted up to 25. He starts out at 20. And the helper starts out at 15 and could get promoted to helper or to.
All right. So you're at $35 an hour. Yeah. All right. Do you have payroll set up already?
We're not. We're going to do that before we hire our first installer, because you
should get that set up today. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from getting that up today. You should use, I'm all about Gusto, man. So you guys need to log on to Gusto, get all that squared away. Get it done now. I mean, you don't want to wait until you have a hire to get this going, because they're going to need to onboard themselves with the right paperwork, all that stuff. Have you factored in workers' comp?
I have not.
All right. So workers' comp's important. for whatever reason, somebody gets hurt on your job site, dude, it'll be the end of your ride, man, without workers' comp. So we need to have that.
Yeah.
You're in Baltimore, or are you in
Ellicott City, Maryland.
Okay. Maryland, right? So I don't know what the percentage is, but factor in between 9 and 14%. I don't know what the percentage is, but just on a safe side. So what looks to be $35 per hour actually equates to, on the high end, 35, about $40 an hour with workers' comp. Okay. And then as a business, you guys know, and I like that you're going the employee route, by the way, because that's going to separate you. And you're going to build some loyalty there. And I'm going to talk to you in a second, Colin, about what is going to be required of you. But $40 is with workers' comp, guys. And then you have your employer liabilities, federal income tax, unemployment tax, social security tax. Okay. So that's going to be an additional 10% on top of the dollar. So that's another. So you guys are operating at about $45 an hour with those two guys, one getting paid 20, one getting paid 15. So first things first, the goal for those guys is to get 40 hours a week. That's the goal. And that's what you should shoot for. So that means, with that being said, that your labor for those guys at $45 an hour is $1,800 a week. And it's important, guys, you guys write these numbers down and like look at them, because you need to know, okay, and I'm going to call it Joe and Steve. Joe's 20, Steve is 15. We're starting with 2. You know, I know that you guys have the idea like 2, 4. You got to know how to manage 2 and then go to the next level and then the next level, because it's not just manage the employees, guys. When you're in residential contracting, you're managing the customers too. And that's big. Customers need to know what time frames, they need to know what styling needs to be done. Sometimes they have other companies coming in to do other services. So you guys have got to be really strategic with scheduling. Like, what if they're getting their house painted at the same time and they want the flooring installed afterwards? Well, how long are we going to wait for them to have paint all over their floor because they told the painting contractor they didn't need to cover the floors because they're getting new flooring? So like, these are things, guys, you need to be thinking about in the flooring business. So at $1,800, that's how much minimum you've got to sell for those guys in 1 week, because that covers their labor. Okay. Now let's talk about profit. Now, ideally, you would be making profit on whatever your cost is. Okay. You have 2 ways to go about it. Number 1, you can pay for the materials. Number 2, you can pass on that expense to the customer. Have you decided which one you want to do?
Yeah, so all our quotes include materials cost. If we walk into a house and a customer's already like, hey, we already chose out the laminate or the hardwood we want installed, we're gonna buy it, all we need is labor. That's when we calculate 45 times, whatever it is per day.
I think you should pick one or the other.
Okay.
I've sold floors enough to know that people, the cool thing about flooring is like, there's leverage in a sense that, like, if somebody orders too much paint, like, it's custom paint, like we can't return it, so they keep it. But if someone orders too much floor, you got to return it, and you lose out on that, because, like, you know what I'm saying? So if you overestimate the amount of flooring and they have 10 boxes left over, like, they're going to want you to return that. Like, it's just sticky with flooring. Like, so I would think that, like, you should say, listen, this is the way we do it. We have a couple vendors, and you guys should make it easy for them to find those vendors. And these are the vendors that you need to go to. And we'll tell you the square footage you need to tell them. You just purchase it through the vendor. Okay. Like, honestly, I think that'll make your sales process so much easier. And you won't have to think of, because here's the thing with paint, my range is $5 a gallon. And usually people don't care what we use as long as it's a good product. Guess what? I could get a $2 a square foot floor or a $5 square foot floor. And you got to wait to sell it to me because you don't know which one I'm going to pick. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
So you can't close me because you don't know how much the job's going to be. I can close you tomorrow if I don't care about how much material we're going to spend. Say you buy the material. That material includes the flooring. That includes the underlayment if it's separate. That includes the transitions. Okay. What am I missing?
Baseboards.
Well, that's an option. That's different. That's from a different vendor. You can include getting the baseboards if you're doing baseboards. Okay. So that's an option. So I really want to talk about the numbers here because that's super important if you guys are going to start hiring. Because with that said, you also have to understand that, every job's different. Every job takes a certain amount of time. So you got to know the pace. So if it takes $1,800 to keep two guys busy for the whole week, then if you guys are wanting to make a 50% margin on your costs, we need to be at $3,600 for that one or two jobs that's getting done. So typically they're not going to do more than two jobs in a week unless they're just a bunch of small ones. But we know that we want to double what our labor cost is. Now there is going to be materials that you guys have to purchase, which like nails, like finished nails and things like that. So your par should be $39.50 for this crew of two. Okay. And that's a 50% margin, at least 50% on top of the costs. That's what a crew of two should be able to accomplish. Colin, what is the agreement in terms of your pay?
Yeah, so I just get I'm gonna be doing just what George is doing with him for now. And then when he leaves, like it'll be just me and I'll be getting 40% of the profits.
So you're not getting anything right now.
I'm getting 40% until George leaves and 40% when he leaves.
So nothing's going to change.
Yeah, nothing's going to change.
Okay. So you're getting 40% of the profit on a job, right?
Yeah.
And do you guys have a system in place to job cost?
Yeah. We have
And
an
what's that
Excel
system?
spreadsheet. You interviewed a guy named Matt, and we actually called him and got a coaching call with him. And
Oh, good. Oh, you spoke to Matt. Cool.
yeah, Matt is a god at Excel.
Yeah.
He's so good at
Yeah.
Excel.
Dude, I love that you push and you press to get your answers. That's a good sign of success. And Colin too. This guy created an app from a developer in Afghanistan. You guys are both great entrepreneurs already. But where I'm getting at is, so yeah, we got to make sure that we know what those profits are. I mean, and that's going to be huge for you, Colin, because that's where your pay comes from. So it's important where those costs are, and it's going to incentivize you a little bit as well. To be doing that. What my concern is that you take profits too early. You guys are operating in a startup capacity right now, and that's the thing is that, if you're going to go in as a partner on this, which that's what you are. I mean, if you're taking profit,
Yeah.
money needs to be reinvested in this business for the next 3 months. I mean, he's got a heavy marketing cost that he's got to make sure gets fulfilled. Right. So like by you taking profit from the job, that's not really a partnership. If that's what we're trying to accomplish here, a partnership is taking profit from the bottom line. I mean, you're taking job profit, which essentially you're a glorified salesperson at that point in time where you're gaining a commission. So is this a partnership or are you a representative? Have we talked about that? I mean, because the thing about it is George doesn't get to take profit from the job. He gets the profit from the end goal, the business after all the expenses, right? So he's got to pay for all that marketing. He's got to pay for, the software. He's got to pay for all these things. And then he gets profit on that bottom line after paying you. That's not a partnership. So have you guys discussed what that really means?
Yeah, so this is it's like a very long-term agreement in a way that like I'm going to be here for a long time. Like we're going to split the costs of like trucks. Like we already have discussed this and agreed upon, like when we have to buy trucks, we're both going in at it. Like I'm going to be paying 40% of it, something like that, or 50-50. And we're going to invest a lot back into the business because we've seen that the more we invest into marketing, the more profits we earn. Like the profit margin of that is very, very positive. So yeah, it's going to be a very
is it a partnership or is it not?
I have no ownership in the company.
Okay, George,
so
is it a partnership? Is it a partnership, George, or is it not?
I don't think it is.
Okay, then Colin, you don't need to be buying trucks and all this stuff. We got to establish this early, guys. And I'm not, George, I'm a straight shooter because this is whether you guys are going to either run into this on your own and it's going to be messy or we get it out on the table now. If it's not a partnership, he doesn't need to be buying trucks. He doesn't need to be spending money on marketing. He doesn't need to be doing any of that stuff. That's not his role. That's just
Okay.
the reality of business, dude. And I hate to say it like that. I just don't want you guys to fall out when you're already knee deep in all these processes. And it's like, so you're either splitting the profits or you're not. And if not, then he needs to be on a salary, because you can't
Okay.
take 40% of a profit on a job just because just because that's a good number to give somebody, dude. You're not going to have any money to grow your business. You're going to need cash flow. You're going to need marketing expense. You're going to need to pay. I mean, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying from a startup perspective, because I'm in one right now. Like, there's no, like, if I have a partner, which I do, no one's taking a salary right now. I'm just saying, if it's a partnership, which we're telling me it's not. And I know you guys have conversations, Colin, dude. You're like, yeah, I know your intentions are good, but if it's not on paper and you guys don't have a clear set thing of how this is going to work, then that's when confusion gets put in place. That's when expectations don't get met, and that's when businesses dissolve. Because George, you're getting ready to leave, and this guy is essentially taking over a branch. So he's either a general manager or he is a franchisee of empathy contracting, and you got to make that decision. And if it's the latter, then you guys need to do a stockholder agreement. So essentially what you need to do is you need to allocate shares to Colin, and he needs to be an owner of the business.
Okay. I think that's the better route.
I think so too. I mean, it sounds like he's an owner. You just haven't made it official.
Yeah, I agree. So as far as that goes, um, that wouldn't overlap to the state that I'm going to, right? That would only apply to
Dude, you're
Maryland.
throwing such a wrench into this just by leaving. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to give you good advice. I mean, it really is. You're essentially saying, I want to create the successful business, but I'm leaving in a couple months. So
Mhm.
good luck, Colin. I'll talk to you over Zoom and we'll figure it out. That's not how a business is. That's not how you do it, dude. Like, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Like, if you want a long standing business, whatever you're going to go do, it's going to take away from that, bro. Like, this
Okay.
isn't like a software company where you can bounce around, dude. You're going to have real life problems with real people's homes, with real situations that you're going to want to handle. You guys could be a dynamic duo and have a multi-million-dollar flooring company with one of you guys doing sales and the other one in a nice air conditioning Chevy 2500 running around doing project management, networking with all the local flooring manufacturers. I mean, you could really go sky high here with both of your mentality, but you're leaving for whatever reason.
It's a good
I
point.
mean, how do you feel about him leaving, Colin? Honestly, like, what?
I
Be
mean,
honest.
obviously, yeah, yeah. Like we're like that's the plan about that is we're planning for that because we know from the get that was going to happen. So we're planning to automate systems, obviously, like I did with Friendly Neighbor. So we're going to try our best to automate every system in place so we can get it to where we don't have to do that much hands-on. But obviously, like you
Do
said,
you
there will be
think
a lot
that
of
you
hands-on
can
with some.
create? I mean, but you got to look. I understand you're trying to bring that mentality, and I can talk to you like this because I'm a software guy, and we see things similar.
Oh yeah,
This is a totally different system here, dude. This is hands-on, boots on the ground. This is different. And I know we want to bring software into this to help automate things, but look at where the company is now. The company is nothing. It's not like you're taking something that's already working and we have a clearly defined system. He's saying he's leaving in April. That's 5 months. It took me 3 years to get people to call me without me having to advertise. And I spend a ton of money on advertising. It's because, it took me 3 years. So for me, it's like, dude, look at where this company is right now. It's you have nothing, and you're telling me in 4 months we're going to get to a point where we can automate systems and lead flow to where we're cranking out this work. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying you're not going to hit the potential if one person is out of state and you're having to do this all on your own. And I told George that from the get go when we spoke. It's just, where I'm getting at is that it's just gonna make the goal harder to attain, because both of you guys could be so strong there. One rock in sales, one rock in project management. George, what are you planning on doing? Where are you going?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. So are you planning on starting another business there?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you feel as though what you're going to learn in the next 4 months to get you to a point where maybe let's say you hit 500,000, you're not even going to know what you're going to hit in a year because it's not even going to be a year. You can duplicate that and bring it to another state?
Um, I'm pretty confident in it. I know it sounds weird, but I'm pretty confident that I can do it. If I
Okay.
can't, if I feel like I need to stay here longer and we're not ready for the transition, then it's a conversation we could definitely have when the time gets closer. But as of now, the goal is April. If we have to push it back another 5 months, a year, or whatever, it it wouldn't bother me at
Did
all.
you know he was willing to do that, Colin, before this conversation?
Uh, I mean, we're planning for April, but I mean, obviously, like you're right. I mean, everything you're saying is 100% accurate. Like it will
He's
be
like,
a lot easier if we're
it's going to be
together.
easier. Here, George,
Yeah.
here's the thing, dude. Look, man, I like you guys. I want you to be really successful. I really do. I want you guys to have multiple branches. I want you guys to be the floor. I mean, we came a long way, George and I. I mean, he originally was doing all sorts of things. We narrowed it down to flooring.
Wow.
He found you. I mean, this guy is really pushing. He's a good leader. George, the biggest mistake you're going to make in your business is leaving. It
Mm,
is, dude. You can't leave, dude. You're the owner of the business in a home service business. 5 months of time isn't enough time for you to make all the mistakes you need to make. Like you're not like maybe if you were doing this for a year, George, and you had already hit 500,000 and you have an established group of employees and you guys have made the mistakes, you built some reputation in your area, and then you reached out to Colin and you came to me and said, "Hey, I'm bringing this guy on. He's going to run what I already created." And all Colin's got to do is oversee production. He's scheduled to hire a few more guys this year. We're going to ramp up marketing on this, and I'm going to start another one in South Carolina. I'd be like, yes, all right, so that's great. So let's, that's where we'd be. You guys are just starting. Like, there's nothing, you have nothing yet. And it's just, there just needs to be more time than April. So if you're willing to, George, I'd say at least hang out a year. I mean, give it a year. I mean, at least give it a year and learn how you guys work together. And my suggestion is any business partnership, there needs to be stuff on paper. Like we've got to iron out, stock shares, if you really feel as though that, there's this thing called it's a 1 year cliff with a 4 year vesting schedule, which essentially makes sure Colin's a good fit for your business, George. And essentially it would tie Colin to a 1 year agreement where he doesn't get any stocks until that 1 year is over. And then each year after that, it will give him a little bit all the way up until whatever percentage you guys agree on. So that's a great way to keep each other accountable. So you don't, in case this doesn't work out in a year and you guys just don't have any synergy, you don't lose out on equity of your company. So that's one way to make sure checks and balances are in place. But in terms of Colin's pay, we've got to iron that out immediately, man. You guys have got to look at first, what are the goals? Are they achievable? I'm telling you right now that you guys got to sell for each crew should be about $4,000 a week is what a 2-man crew should produce. So if your goal is to get 3 crews of 2, so that's 16 grand a week. That's a pretty good metric right there. That's going to put you guys at about 60 to 70,000 a month. So, if you optimize now, are we taking tile? Are we taking laminate installation? Are we taking like all these things? Like, dude, I'll be honest with you, you should avoid tile at all costs.
okay.
Personally, I think there's enough demand for laminate and vinyl where you can avoid tile. Tile is a completely different skill set. It's going to require a different hiring process. It's going to require a different installation process. It's going to require different time frames. It's going to require all that stuff, dude. And I think personally, if you guys were to optimize, I think you should focus on optimizing the production before you try to optimize everything else, because narrow down on what you're going to do. I think you should find somebody that just does tile removal. I think you should not put that on your team to do. I think if you guys have one person, if you have 3 crews of 2, you should hire someone just to do the tile removal and carpet removal and baseboard removal. Like that's his job. He gets sent in before jobs start and his job is demo. And that allows your installers just to do what they do, install. Like that's the type of systems that you guys should be creating and narrowing down exactly what you're going to do. That'll just optimize your time. But when it comes down to it, guys, looking at the numbers is important. I think, Colin, you need to be on a salary, man. You can't be taking all this profit from the jobs. There won't be anything left. If you were to take 40% of, let's say we hit 60 grand. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry if you feel like I'm taking away from you, but I want your business to be successful, man. If you guys are doing 60 grand, okay, And let's say you guys operate at a 50% margin. I'm going to divide that by 2. That means that the gross profit of all that work was 30 grand. So that means Colin's taking 12,000 a month. I mean, would you be able to give him 12 grand a month? Do you know how much that is a year? That's 144,000 a year, dude.
Definitely not at our stage.
No way. He doesn't even want that much if he's trying to build your company. He knows that. That's just too much. You guys got to rewire that agreement. Obviously he needs to make money. So, we got to figure out how to fit 2 people that need to make money inside of a business that's not generating a lot of money. That means you guys got to scale quick, get more customers, spend more on marketing. Start off with 50 grand just to see what that looks like per week. See if that happens. Cause here's the thing, you guys got cash flow too, right? So, Colin's going to need his 1,000 for the week. You're going to want your 1,000 for the week. So that's 8 grand a month. Right now, if you have 1 crew, you're only going to be bringing in 1,800 times 4. So right now, if you maximized right now, your crew of 2, okay, they're going to bring in 7,200 worth of profit. If you just sell labor, okay, and you did 4 grand a week. If both of you guys want $1,000 a week, you guys are negative 800. So that's how important it is to get that second crew up and running and optimize. Once you hit the second crew, that's when you guys can actually afford to pay each other $1,000 a week to sustain your lifestyle.
Okay.
So I don't know, man. What do you think about all that?
So I think would there be a way to basically cover all our expenses, cover the expenses of the truck, cover the expenses of marketing, labor, materials, all that, and then do a percentage off the leftover? Or do you think it should be salary?
Well, I just think that, you guys can decide that. It's just one of those things where it's like, first of all, what is that total cost? Do you even know?
Mm-mm. Well, we
Okay.
know it's 4,000 for the crew per week. And we know that it's,
Well, after me just telling you that,
yeah.
well, it's 1,800 per week for 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
1,800.
cost.
So let's call it 2,000. And then we need,
And George,
At
that's
least-
on 40 hours a week. That's if we have 40 hours a week of work, which we
okay,
don't have
so,
yet.
so
So
it's,
we're not at that number yet.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
we're talking about monthly expenses. So you have fixed costs, which are or expenses that never change. So how much is the truck payment?
oh, we
Yeah,
haven't
no
gotten a
truck.
truck yet. It's
All
probably
right,
going to be
so-
around 900.
Okay. Do you need $900 for a truck payment?
900.
What the hell?
That's a Ferrari.
What kind of truck
Oh.
do you need, dude?
I don't know. I was going to get a Sprinter, man.
100.
Nah,
It'll be probably
man.
about 100.
Dude, you need a trailer. George, what kind of car do you drive?
Toyota.
Is it a Camry?
Yeah.
All right. And then do you drive a truck, Colin?
I have we're getting a truck, and I'm buying a truck, and I also have a trailer. So I already got all that stuff for
Dude,
it's already
Colin comes stacked, dude. You got to talk to this kid more, man. You guys need a trailer. All you got to do is transport the materials. It's so
yeah.
the cool thing about that. You don't need ladders. Like, dude, for painting, I need ladders. I need sprayers. What do you guys need? You guys need the little things that tap in the flooring, and you need the trailer, dude. It's it. You know? So you don't
Yeah.
even need a truck, dude. It's about staying lean. Like, you got to try to stay lean, because again, I'm just trying to help you guys understand how to get to $1 million. We got to get to $1 million first. Like, how do we generate $1 million worth of sales? And it's going to be a little skewed for you guys because my sales include the paint, right? So I include the paint. Don't be intimidated by your sales, because your sales are just going to include labor, but people understand, they need to pay a percentage of, the labor to make profit. You guys got to make a freaking profit. So it's just about helping you guys understand that, we've got to get a couple crews moving. We've got to make the mistakes. We've got to be able to look at the costs and see what should we pay based on this. It's good to say, yeah, you get 40% of the profit, but dude, that's the job profit. That's not the net profit of the business. The net profit of the business is a way smaller number. At the end of that job, over the course of the year, when you do your taxes, it's a good, well, hopefully it's small, because you won't pay the income tax, but you know what I mean? It's just going to be hard. Now, a percentage that I've heard for salespeople, Colin, is usually about 8 to 10% of the job itself. So I'm giving you some options here. I mean, we don't have to do that. It's like 8 to 10% of the job itself. So if you sell a $5,000 job, you would get $500, right? If you were selling the job, okay, maybe overseeing the job, you get $500. That's fair. If you were to job cost that job, I think it was like 12 to 14% of the net profit. So if you made $2,000, then it would be, 12 to 14%, but 40% of that job profit is just way too much.
Yeah, the
right
40%, we decided that it makes sense at 40% because when George is completely gone, it's going to be that he's doing nothing. He's doing nothing and he's still getting 60% of the job.
100%. Listen, and that's when George is gone. Like, I get that.
Yeah,
I mean, if
which
he
is
were
in
gone
5
now,
months.
we've got to change that pay structure when George leaves. I'm talking about when we start this business, which is like yesterday. Like, there's got to be a fair compensation to get you guys to that point where George can confidently leave and you're just running things, dude.
100%.
And you're just running things.
Yeah.
To me, it's just one of those things where, I just know it won't work. So we got to look at the numbers of what we need to sell for 2 guys. Now, do you guys have any employees?
Yeah.
And how many employees do you have?
3.
You have 3 employees. Are 3 guys working on each job?
Depending on how big it is. They're not all full-time yet. They one of them's full-time, the other one has a job. The other 2 have jobs. One works at the Home Depot and the other works at Pizza Bullies.
Okay.
But they're both not getting treated well. So I told them, hey, we'll start you out with 2 days a week, see how we manage that. Once we systematize that, we'll move up to
how many
3 days a
jobs
week.
do you have in your pipeline right now?
So right now, let me check Dripjobs.
Did you guys know each other before this, Colin?
Yeah. Yeah. We actually met each other at a business conference competition where I was presenting Friendly Neighbor. He's like, oh, this guy.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
So this is what concerns me. We have $38,177 in our pipeline. And that's a total of 4 jobs, 5 jobs. That's what's in our pipeline. So they're getting drips daily. I think I'm gonna go ahead and call them up today and follow up.
Here's the thing, you're in survival mode, man. Like, if you guys are trying to fit both of your expectations into a grape, because the grape is the size of the business. Like, dude, we have a lot of work to do here, man. I mean, you guys are in the red. I mean, if I were to give you a color, it would be red. I mean, we don't know. We have this big grandiose dream of Colin taking over something that does. Dude, Colin, you could start your own, honestly, and be in a better position than you're in right now. And I'm sorry, George, to say that, but that's the reality. You've got nothing. Like, there's nothing here, George. And it's like, bro, you've got to be aggressive. You can't just be okay with part-time workers, man. You need full-time guys, and every person that you've given a quote to needs to be getting a discount if they haven't gotten back to you within a week. Because here's the thing, you got 21 days before people either hire someone else or they don't want to do the job. So what are we waiting for? Like, it's one of those things that, like, there's got to be some level of aggression toward this or the business won't succeed. Like, you've got to make these calls and say, hey, listen, I quoted you at 3,900 the other day. Hey, we could really use the work for our team. Let's get you down to 3,500. We could start Monday and we can help you pick out what flooring type you want. How does that sound? Like, it's got to be that level of aggression, because you got to realize people don't work for companies that can't provide them 40 hours a week. And if you're saying, well, we don't provide 40 hours a week, we're giving somebody 2 days. Who wants to work 2 days, George?
I just thought it would be a good start before.
It's not a good start, because you have Colin depending on you to get him in a position where he's running this fully functional business. Okay. You are tiptoeing back and forth about leaving to a different state. We're all over the place here. You have people applying on Indeed. You say you have 30 applications on Indeed. What's the benefit of anyone getting a job with you guys right now? You don't have the work to keep them busy.
Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, here's the deal, man. You got to sell some jobs. And how many flooring stores do you guys go into?
Flooring. Oh yeah, we didn't do that yet.
No,
No.
that's a given. Every flooring store within 20 miles needs to know you guys. 100%.
True. Yeah.
Every
Definitely.
flooring store, dude. I mean, that is like free money.
They need to love us.
They will. You guys bring them bring them lunch, dude. You know, you want to make an impact on it. Hey guys, I brought you guys donuts. Go get some freaking donuts. Get 24 donuts and say, hey guys, we're new. Empathy contracting. Bring your freaking business cards. Go in there and say, listen, please consider us. Is there any paperwork we need to fill out to get on your vendor list? I mean, you're not going to make as much with those, but they're great filler jobs.
Totally.
And guess what? Guess what you can do when you get those jobs? You can upsell. Hey, miss, do you want to add baseboards? $6 a linear foot and we'll paint them. Hey, you want to add crown molding? We do crown molding too. $9 a linear foot and we'll paint it. Like, bro, like that's the level of freaking hustle that you've got to have if you want to be successful. Otherwise, don't give people the idea that you're going to be hiring them and make them apply to a company that has no work, that has two guys that are really entrepreneurial focused. You guys are phenomenal, but you guys have not had these hard conversations that you had to come on here to have. You need to have them yourselves. Don't be afraid to say, hey, how much am I getting paid? What is my expectation, dude? Like, this is how you make sure that you don't get screwed in a business partnership.
For sure.
You know,
yeah.
You know, Colin, I'm sure you appreciate this though, Colin, even though I just cut your pay in half, but you appreciate
I completely agree with everything you said. I mean, obviously, like we want this business to be massive. We want it to be branched everywhere. Like we're not trying to have just a little branch here, a little branch there.
You
like,
might look back on this in 10 years and you might be like, dude, this was a pivotal conversation to have. The guy, that crazy guy told me everything we needed to hear. George didn't talk to him for another 3 months because he was mad. But you know, but those are the things, man. Look, you got to know your numbers. That's number one. If I'm going to give you guys I'll give you guys a little playbook here. Know your numbers. Identify exactly how much you need to sell in order to keep guys busy for 40 hours. If you guys finish a job on Thursday, you better pay them for Friday, because that is your responsibility, is to make sure these guys have a full week of work. So you should be pricing out your jobs that way. Now, you need to be identifying where your niche is. I think it's vinyl and laminate. There's right now, as we breathe in your area within 50 miles, there's 100 vinyl and laminate floors being installed. Are you going to get a piece of that pie? Because the reality is the other flooring contractors are going to be taking tile. They're going to be taking backsplashes. Some of them like to take bathroom remodels and all that stuff. What does that do? That opens up a void for you guys just to only take vinyl and laminate, vinyl and laminate, vinyl and laminate, you know? Now you could take some tile. I'm not saying if somebody wants to do tile and you feel like you can do it, do it. I'm just saying that it's going to be harder to hire tile installers than it is vinyl and laminate. You can take someone off the street and teach them to freaking put down a vinyl and a laminate floor.
Yeah.
That creates a really easy way for you guys to get help. And how do we grow our business? More people. So if we build a business, we should focus on how can we acquire good help. It's hard to build a bathroom remodeling business, because how many people do you know you can pull off the street and teach how to do a perfect bathroom remodel?
Very hard.
Very hard, you know? So I gave you guys a lot. I hope you thought it was helpful.
Oh, definitely. Tanner, I appreciate you a million. I mean, we got some action items to work on now. So next,
Colin was right.
Podcast.
You guys are going to be successful. George.
Yes.
Will we see you back?
100%.
All right, man. I got to go. Thank you guys. Keep me updated. All right.
All right, brother.
Colin,
have a good day.
Colin, we got to get together. I'm going to walk you through Dripjobs. I'll send him a link to send you.
Appreciate you.
All right, brother.
Talk
Take
soon.
care, guys. Yep. Dripjobs CRM is finally here. That's right. So Dripjobs is an automation platform for contractors, home service professionals that's going to automatically follow up with your customers. It's going to allow you to send invoices, estimates. It's going to allow you to send out blast marketing emails to individuals based on where they are in the buying process. This software is next level. And I'm reaching out to you. You're a listener of this podcast, and I want you to be one of the first ones to give it a shot. So if you want to see what Dripjobs can do for your business, I'd love for you to head over to dripjobs.com, sign up for a free demo and get your team involved and let us sit with you and show you how powerful this software is. It's going to save you time, it's going to make you money, and you're going to love the features that are built into Dripjobs. So if you want to check it out, head over to dripjobs.com, and we will give you first priority being a podcast listener to be one of the very first to try out Dripjobs in your home service business. I'm super excited to share that with you, and I'll catch you on the next episode.